Over the next few weeks, I'm going to share some real anonymized data from leaders who have taken my MVP manager assessment. And so today we're going to be talking about a phenomenon I call the bulletproof leader. And it falls squarely under the mindset pillar of my MVP framework, my leadership framework. So here's the thing. Recently, a veteran leader of 10 plus years, took the assessment, and I'll call him Manager Stone for these purposes. And so Manager Stone is highly capable. Remember, I tell you, he has 10 plus years experience. In fact, when he did the assessment, he rated his confidence in leading others as a perfect 10 out of 10. But, 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 as I looked closer at the results, this is a red flag that popped out at me. When he was asked if he openly acknowledges mistakes and learns from them, he actually scored himself a 3 out of 10. Let's hold off. I want you to hold off. Let's hold off a little on judging Manager Stone, because the truth of the matter is we all have those blind spots. So he has a 10 out of 10 confidence. Perfect. But a 3 out of 10 in admitting he's wrong. And so if you are a mid-level manager, I want you to listen closely. I want you to listen to what I am about to share with you. This is the armor of confidence trap. And if you're wearing this armor, you might be accidentally suffocating your team. Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. This is the space that for 2026, we are saying that MVP confidence is currency. So again, welcome, everyone. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Tanique Easy. I am, in my current capacity, I function as a leadership development expert, unlocking the efficiency of managers, that is first time and mid-level managers, so they become more proficient at producing results without burnout. Again, in 2026, we're talking about MVP confidence. So let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from. If you're watching live, type hashtag live and where you're joining me from. And if you're catching the replay, I want you to type hashtag replay and also where you have joined us from. And let us know in the comments your biggest takeaways. Now, as we move into that story, we're talking about the hidden gaps of high performing managers. So this is a series. That we're going to be talking about over the next 4 weeks. And so in part 1, I'm glad that you're joining me because we're talking about the bulletproof leader, right? So that's what we're talking about. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, if this is your first time joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those who are returning audience members, thank you so much. For those of you who are joining on YouTube, thank you for joining us on over there. And I appreciate all those who are always coming to support these lives. Now, here's the truth that I want to share with us. That, you see, when a leader refuses to admit mistakes, it actually starts to kill psychological safety within the organization. And so persons don't feel like they too can admit what has gone wrong, the blame game. No one wants to take accountability. And so that, so lack of accountability causes or it kills psychological safety within an organization. And when we talk about that, let me see who is joining us today. Hi, Curtis. Good morning. Good morning. So happy to have you this morning with us. And so, again, as I said, when we refuse as leaders or we brush it under the rug, so to speak, when we make a mistake and we're not taking that full accountability, it actually kills psychological safety within the organization. And so if you project perfection, we're not saying project excellence, but projecting perfection. So when you start to project perfection, your team learns that perfection rather is that baseline. And so when perfection is that baseline, what happens is that people actually get scared. When we have a culture where we cover up mistakes or we shift blame, we do the blame shifting, and accountability is not at the forefront, then what happens is that innovation slowly dies. People, instead of team members start to bring the fresh ideas, what happens is that they start to bring the safe ideas because they are erring on the side of caution where, well, I don't want to tell you that this project is actually failing and we can start or we can do something about it right now, but we are actually hiding behind it and then it's going to explode. And so that's what happens. So that actually kills innovation. And so, yes, you may have a 10 out of 10 confidence, but that doesn't necessarily make the team feel safe. It makes them feel like they actually can't measure up because there's this measuring stick and it may not be said, but it is portrayed that there is this measuring stick of perfection. And because I can't measure up to that perfection, then I won't come and I won't feel safe. I'll stop talking about things. And so this is where the danger comes in, the danger of that armor. And I'm not saying what I'm saying here is that we strive for excellence. We strive for excellence in all we do. And as we noted, Manager Stone has a 10 out of 10 confidence in leading people, which is absolutely amazing. But the gap is that accountability, when it comes on to the accountability of owning up to the mistakes and doing them, sharing them, with the team publicly, then that is a 3 out of 10. So that score is low. And so what we can do is that, not using the confidence as a mask, so to speak, not using the confidence as a mask. And so not because we are not marginalizing our team members in because they don't score a 10 out of 10, then they are not measuring up to what that looks like. And so I want to share what it looks like when you actually create that psychological safety. When you create that safe space, this is what happens when we create that safe space. So one of the things, and you will hear me referring to these stories from time to time, is that when we create safe space for others, people feel seen and heard. That's what psychological safety does for us. We feel seen, we feel heard. And I'm going to bring this back up with you because I believe it ties nicely into what we're talking about with Manager Stone. And so I have this mentee. She started in my original club, my original Toastmasters club. She is my mentee. And she brought the idea, she brought the idea of having a Toastmasters club within our organization. She brought that idea to her boss. And her boss loved the idea because yes, not they want persons to develop their leadership skills. They want to, so even though they have a management training program, still want persons to be able to speak more fluently and more effectively when they are delivering in meetings, when they're delivering to senior management. And so this is a part of the growth process that she saw this gap that yes, we have a management thing going on. We have a management training program internally, and persons are going through that program like rapid fire. However, when it comes on to presentation, when it comes on to presenting their ideas, when it comes on to speaking in public, or when it comes on to even conducting meetings, there is a gap. And so she found that Toastmasters would have been beneficial for everybody. So she brought the idea. It was acknowledged, and the boss says yes, go ahead with it. But here's the thing: once it was approved, she was terrified. She was like, "Listen, this is bigger than me. This is not something that I've ever done before," and that was okay. That was okay. She didn't know the process, and she didn't have all the answers because this was something new to her. And so I could have put on my bulletproof leader armor and pretend as if I knew everything and I was perfect. But no, I didn't do that because I wasn't. And I didn't know everything because I am on this learning journey too. So, what happened is I walked alongside her when she would ask for something. And if I didn't immediately know the answer to that, I would get support from a more senior person within the organization who would have gone through this process themselves. And then I would pass back that information, that knowledge onto her. So I am learning, she's learning. And but what is the thing? I didn't do the work for her because I couldn't go in her organization and do all this paperwork for her. She did the work. She did the back end work of it. But I enabled her to do it herself by giving her that information, by walking alongside her. What happened is that I developed the power to say, I don't know, let's find out. And that is something that we can always do. It is something that it's encouraged. And I think I was listening to another leadership program recently. And this is something that they iterated, just saying, I don't know. Instead of trying to look like you know everything. Just simply say, I don't know, but I can find out. And that actually builds credibility. It actually builds trust. And so today she is the president of that club. And this is one thing that she said to me time and time again as she and I have our mentorship conversation. She expresses time and time again, I am so grateful, Tanik. I'm so grateful for your mentorship. I couldn't have done this without you. You have made me feel safe. You have made me feel like I can express my doubt. You have given me that space to be able to express my doubt. You don't judge me, you listen and you guide. And so This is what, as leaders, we are called to do, to create that psychologically safe space for our team members, where where they can feel safe, where they can try things, where they can fail, where they can learn, and where they can get up and try again. That's how we create that safe space. Right. I want to pause right here before I go any further. I want to pause right here and I want to welcome those who are just joining us. Welcome, Lisa Favek. Lisa is the menopause coach here on LinkedIn, the number one menopause coach here on LinkedIn. If you haven't connected with her already, please do connect with her. And again, I want to say thank you so much, Curtis, for joining us. He is an executive coach for men. So if you're a man and you're over 40 and you are an executive, Curtis is the person for you to connect with. And again, for those of you who are joining us on LinkedIn, for those on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us there. I want you to let us know in the comments your takeaways that you have been gaining so far. And for if you are just joining me and you don't know who I am, my name is Tenique Easy. I'm a leadership development expert, and I support first-time and mid-level managers with in producing more efficient results without burnout. And so, thank you again for joining us. Welcome to the Queen Mother of LinkedIn, Leslie Flowers. Welcome, Leslie. So happy to have you with us this afternoon. So, as we continue, I want to connect back this story to the data that we shared earlier about Manager Stone scoring a 10 out of 10. And so, this brings us back to him that if Manager Stone, the thing is that he has a team, he's leading, he's effective. That much we know, he's confident, he's capable. And so a 10 out of 10 confidence level shouldn't be used as this perfect projection, as this perfectionist. However, what it does, it actually gives him that internal security because he knows that he is confident with himself. And so it provides that internal security for him to look at his team and to say, hey, I was wrong. I made a mistake. So that confidence, he can use that internal confidence, that internal security to say, I was wrong. I made a mistake. This didn't go according to how I planned it. Let's start over, or let's revisit. Let's take that and revisit. A friend of mine says, revisit with courage. Right? So let's revisit. Let's take the courage as leaders to revisit that and to share and to say, how can we move forward? How can we make this better? So using that confidence as a way to bring the team in, to help them to see that mistakes are going to be made, because again, none of us is perfect. We strive for excellence, but we are not perfect, because it doesn't matter how much we know, we think we know that we know, there is still places that we don't know. And so that internal security is that bridge to bring the team together, to say, to share vulnerability, to be vulnerable. Again, let's not confuse, and I always say this, let's not confuse vulnerability with dumping. We're not oversharing, we're not dumping on others, but we're opening up to the point where persons can see that we are humans and we make mistakes and things will go left. Things will go left from time to time, but it's how we deal with it. And there's this thing that I have that says, you know, leadership is not a people, but it's a mindset. Leadership is not a people, but it's a mindset. And every mindset is a product of my leadership. And so when we think about our leadership capabilities, we are confident, we show that strong confidence, but how are we showing up when it comes on to accountability, to ownership, to owning those mistakes, to owning when I didn't do what I said that I would do and it impacted my team? That is mindset. That is leadership mindset. We are making those intentional deposits in our leadership account. And so if here's the thing, leadership starts with self-awareness. Leadership starts with self-awareness, and it starts with mindset. As I said before, that leadership is not a people, leadership is a mindset, and every mindset is a product of my leadership. And so if you are wondering, if you are here and you're wondering if you have blind spots, just like Manager Stone, the fact is we all do. We all do have our own blind spots. Because if you think about it as like you're driving, if you think about it like you're driving and you're going along the road, you have a blind spot when you're driving. And as a leader, you drive the team. You are the leader of the team. You bring the team forward. And therefore, we all have those blind spots that we are not going to see everything. We're not going to see some things because they are out of sight. They're out of our line of vision. And so your confidence may be high, 10 out of 10, like Manager Stone, but making a mistake and acknowledging that mistake, owning to it, maybe a 3 out of 10, maybe a 4, maybe a 5, whatever it is. And so it could be that your perfectionism with your confidence, because you are so confident in your own leadership capabilities, which is excellent, then you're not seeing these other blind spots. And so it is masking your vulnerability. It's masking vulnerability. Ah, yes, Leslie. That is why we need an accountability partner. That is why we need an accountability partner, because we can't see the label from the inside of the wine bottle. Yes, indeed, Leslie, we can't see the label when we're inside that. When we're inside that bottle, when we're inside that can, we can't see it. And so, yes, we need somebody to point those things out for us. And so, what I want to share with you is that I have, just like Manager Stone, took that complementary assessment and he found out some of his blind spots. I am offering that assessment complimentary for the first 5 to 10 persons. I'm going to put it at 10. For the first 10 managers who message me the word scorecard. So if you message on the chat scorecard, I'll send that to you. Or if you want to send me a direct message, I'll send you that complimentary MVP manager assessment. It takes about 10 minutes for you to get it done. And what will happen is that you will get a custom readiness scorecard, scoring you on your mindset, scoring you on the vision. And I'm not talking about the vision that you see with your eyes. I'm talking about how are you as it relates to your vision and how it aligns with the vision of the organization and performance. Are you taking accountability? How accountable are you to self and to others? And so, again, you can drop the word scorecard in the comments and I will send that to you. But it's limited to the first 10. I'm going to put it at 10. It's limited to the first 10 managers or directors who send in that message so that I can send that personally to you. It's not a personality assessment, it is an MVP manager assessment developed specifically to highlight the mindset aspect of your leadership, the vision aspect of your leadership and the performance aspect of your leadership. So again, thank you so much for joining me. If this has been of any help to you, please let us know in the comments. What has been your biggest takeaway? Let us know if you want to add something to the conversation apart from what I've shared. If you have this, if you disagree or if you agree, whatever that looks like, because we're here to learn and to grow. So share your thoughts in the comments section. And so what we're going to be doing next week, because this is a 4-part series that we're doing based on these assessment results that I have been gathering. And so next week, we are going to be talking about the vision disconnect and why your team doesn't just need inspiration, they need translation, because we can inspire, but it may not translate to an output that you really want. And so your challenge, the challenge that I have for you this week as directors of human resources, directors of talent management, directors of learning and development, or operations, or you're a first time or mid-level manager, this is the challenge for you this week. I want you to take off the armor, take off that confidence armor that is masking your vulnerability. Take off that armor, admit one mistake, not 3, not 4, not 5, one. Admit a mistake that you would have made recently, that you have, tried to avoid because you didn't want persons to see that you are prone to mistakes. So admit that one mistake and look how well or look how much that this is going to multiply your team's trust. I call this watch out your leadership account. I usually say, look at how much it is going to deposit into your leadership account and see how that account multiplies. You will see how that account multiplies. It's just like when you are putting money in the bank, you're making deposits into your account and your account keeps growing. When we admit to our mistakes as leaders, when we do not shift the blame or sweep it under the rug, but we admit those mistakes, we are actually making deposits. We're making intentional deposits in our leadership account. And this account that we are making the deposit in is called the team's trust. And you will see how that begins to multiply. Again, thank you so much for joining me this week on another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. Thank you for spending time and for growing. I want you to comment below. And if this helped you, repost it, share it with another person, share it with another leader, and bring them along the next time. Bring them along the next time. We are here every Thursday, as long as we can make it, as long as there's nothing significant that is happening. We are here every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so I want you to subscribe to, follow me. That's what I said, subscribe. Follow me here on LinkedIn, connect with me, send me direct messages, and let's continue those leadership conversations, because this is what we do on a weekly basis. And again, remember, MVP confidence is currency.